Welcome to the Liquidity Event, a show about all things personal finance with a laser focus on taxes, financial independence, and equity compensation. Hosted by AJ and Shane of Brooklyn FI, each episode will focus on a personal finance topic, some driven by news headlines and sometimes driven by listener questions. And sometimes you'll just get two money nerds rambling about what they think is interesting. Just a quick note before we get started, this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered tax or investment advice.
Hello, and welcome to the Liquidity Event. I'm your host, AJ Ayers.
And I'm Shane Mason.
And this is episode 160, being recorded on October 7th, airing on October 9th. Oh, that's weird. It's a Tuesday. We're recording a day early. You can always email us your financial questions at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com, and we will answer them live on the air. Before we get started, I have today lots on the show. We're going to talk about Scientology and stock markets. We're going to talk about ChatGPT, therapizing ChatGPT. We're going to talk about Sharpies, and we're going to answer a bunch of listener questions. But before we get to that, I have a plug for a upcoming event, a digital event this Thursday. I believe it is at 2 p.m. It is on mystockoptions.com. You and I are presenting a webinar about strategies for how to handle your liquidity post IPO or acquisition or tender or however it is you get money out of the company that you work for or founded or used to work for. I mean, really, that's what we're here to talk about, isn't it, Shane? A liquidity event.
That's right. We're supposed to be drinking on this podcast, but something changed in 2002 or 2022. Somewhere along the lines, we decided that drinking brown liquors at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday wasn't working for the rest of our schedules. So
Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Where are you in the world today?
I'm in New York. Yeah, I'm still in New York. I had a lovely weekend. I saw one battle after another, 4.5 stars out of 5. Let's go. Chase Infinity.
The film with what's his name? Sean Penn, etc.
Sean Penn does an incredible performance for an old Sean Penn. He nails it. He really likes black women in the movie. No spoilers. And I also saw Good Boy last night, which is a horror movie from the perspective of a dog, which is also, I'm going to plug that. If you are a dog owner.
Two of my favorite things.
Horror movies with dogs. Does the dog die, AJ?
I hope not.
I'm not going to spoil it for you. Yeah, I had a big long week. I saw John Mouse, saw Base Drum of Death. Anyway, what's going on with you? How was your weekend?
My weekend is pretty chill. I had a classic New York upstate. Upstate New York weekend, TM. It was just beautiful. I mean, that's the thing about living in New York is the weather sucks like 50.
I'm gonna go 75% of the time. It's very, very hot in the summertime and shitty and snowy in the wintertime. Yeah. Summer now is like May through October.
All right, maybe it's 60.
I went upstate. No, I'm not going to dunk on New York. I went upstate this weekend as well. I did a hike, and everybody in Manhattan also went upstate this weekend.
The traffic was atrocious.
Yeah, the trains were packed. We got out Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and it was still tough, and the mountain was full of Bluetooth speaker people. So
oh no, nothing like a white person.
They were black, but yeah, it was fun. It was interesting. Yeah. What? That's not. Wait. Oh, right. Okay, I remember this now. All right, I'm with you. Mhm.
To the Church of Scientology, and in order to maintain your tax-exempt status as a church, you cannot. room, being locked in a closet and having to read L. Ron Hubbard, just to make sure they were on board with the company mission. So yeah, what was your take here?
Well, let me just bust out my e-meter real fast, AJ, because I've got
Your
a lot of
e-meter.
questions
That was
about your commitment
exactly. Yeah, the e-meter,
to
the
the
truth
cause.
teller.
Have you ever seen the South Park episode where they do the reenactment of what Scientologists actually believe?
Yes. I mean,
Right.
I would drive along Hollywood. Like, they're like half of the property in Hollywood is owned by the L. Ron Hubbard Foundation and the Church of Scientology.
Yes.
So it was very enmeshed in my childhood.
Freedom of religion personified.
Yeah.
I would say that, and the Mormon Church. I have space for all of these religions. I am a constitutionalist. However, with that said, there are some very interesting items going on in this article related to the black Nasdaq is what they were trying to create, supposedly.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would need a separate stock exchange for black businesses. I'm into it. If I could be, convinced why that would be necessary, but I guess they never got it off the ground. The interesting thing, or they haven't got it off the ground yet, and these accusations.
They're waiting for SEC approval. There's an application in progress right now, which I don't think this will help, unfortunately.
Unless there is someone high up in the church, that is also working at the SEC. This is not going to help their cause for sure. The Dream Exchange, named after the MLK Jr. speech, Martin Luther King Jr. speech, which is very interesting, has a white leader who was quoted saying he is the whitest N-word using the slur and claimed he understood black people better than his own black employees. That's also not going to help them raise money.
That one doesn't sit well with me. How about you? I don't really like the way that sounded.
This is a fun one. We get to talk about stock exchanges. This is the liquidity event after all.
Love this article.
A little bit of race relations, which is always spicy.
I don't like that.
And then you throw in the Church of Scientology, and what do you have? You got yourself a stew, sister.
Yeah, we got a big old club sandwich right here. We got bacon, turkey, and avocado.
Did you? It sounds like you also read that other article that they linked to. This is a Wall Street Journal article, but they went to the other one where the guy showed up in flip-flops to collect money for the Scientology.
They sent the what do you call him? Loan shark, basically.
The enforcer.
The enforcer. Yeah.
I'm sorry, fellas. If there are any men listening to this podcast,
do not wear flip-flops
ever again. Go into your closet and put them in the trash. There's no way they cost more than $50. If they did, eat that L, brother. Get rid of the flip-flops.
Quick interjection. A quick note for our producer, Ariel. Can you please throw up 2 images on the screen? I'm thinking of one particular from Shane from, I think, the years 2017. He's wearing white Birkenstocks. And I think the other one, I'll have to find it, also wearing rainbow flip-flops. Anyway, please continue. Sorry.
Yes.
You have seen the error of your ways after years of me berating you.
Well, hear me out. If you are at the beach and the beach is hot, you can get flip-flops. You can buy them from somebody that is walking by, and you're like, shit, my feet is too hot on the beach. You dispose of them in that moment.
No, you cannot ever wear flip-flops. You can wear slides, but there should never be a man's toe with a plastic thong between it. You can wear flip-flops that have like a slide across, but you cannot have your feet constricted by a V-shaped leather or plastic mechanism.
I'm with you. You can wear Birkenstocks. You can wear something with a strap, Arizonas. No, but if you were at the beach and you literally do not have shoes and you have to put something between you and the magma that is the white sand, plastic bags.
Plastic bags, borrow your wife's hair tie, call it a day.
I see men wearing flip-flops these days.
It's just unacceptable.
Yeah, it's a
Oh wait, I had an undateable acting career, flip-flops. I forget the other one. Anyway, you were saying.
Men love to hear an ick from a woman. Nothing we get more. Have you, as a frequent Apple Watch wearer, a man walked up to in Austin and was wearing an Apple Watch and he said ick. I was like, what do you do? You are wearing the exact same item. He's wearing a much more expensive version than what. To be fair, I'm with you on the Apple Watch thing. We covered that together. It is a tough look. Yeah. I mean, it was a business event. I like an Apple Watch when you're like, I might go work out later. I'm trying to track my heart rate variations, all that stuff. But
for sure, love an
Apple Watch. If you're going to put a suit on, if you're wearing a suit, just like dress for the occasion.
As we
I'm
just
with you on
discussed,
that.
flip-flops allowed next to the pool. If you are the Church of Scientology loan enforcer coming to collect your donation, quote unquote, from the chief executive officer.
The gorilla? Yeah, yeah. Oh, Sakala. Yeah, there it is. Anyway, AJ's right. I've infringed on, I've made style mistakes many times in the past. I'm here to come to the other side. Who should you listen to more than someone that has recently gone through this transition, dear listener? Yeah. Mm.
4x. So it's a fully
Yeah.
electronic marketplace. And the idea is that instead of trading between normal hours when people are awake, now there are 23-hour trading windows on weekdays, which I think is a terrible idea. We have this with certain types of things we trade. With a lot of crypto, you can trade them all the time. There is no close of the market. It's supposed to launch soon. I went to their website, which basically looks like a website for a shitty condo in downtown Brooklyn. But they're supposedly getting approval, and it's going to Are you going to be trading on 24x at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I never trade for one. I mean, the thing that really bums me out about this is that we're comparing it to crypto. The thing about crypto is, again, there's no cash flows happening underneath the surface of a crypto. I had this conversation on our 6-hour hike upstate, and we're talking about crypto and how it
Oh, so
always
there were
comes
people
up.
listening to there were people with their Bluetooth speakers, flip-flops, and crypto conversations, or the flip-flop.
Yeah, yeah. The flip flops are just in this article. There was no flip flops this weekend. There was a lot of Solomons getting out, being released into their natural habitat over the weekend for sure. But yeah, no. There was anytime anytime Bitcoin is up, I have to have a conversation about the value and its store of currency, and it's like uh, it's scarcity, and scarcity being a source of worth, and like comparing that to fiat currency. And the thing about crypto is like there's not going to be a big announcement that happens at 3 in the morning that's going to drastically change the valuation of Bitcoin, right? Like it's all speculation. It's all piling in when other people are piling in and to the moon and all that. There's no actual underlying company that is going to be announcing a deal with AMD like OpenAI did yesterday that's going to significantly drive the price of AMD's stock up. So like, why do we need that's okay for them to trade 24 hours because there's no news to be trading on. It's just like, hey, right now I want to buy some of the stock, so why not? And there's not people that need to be constantly watching it to watch for big market indicators and setting all these orders and staying on top of the news day. So with companies,
I mean,
we have a
how do you
long
manage material non-public information if someone gets the information 6 hours before everybody else? Like,
yeah.
so
But
I'm surprised that this is moving forward, but actually with this administration, I'm not surprised. But I don't think this is a good idea. I think we have
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I should know why there are multiple stock exchanges and why they have different, they have different regulatory requirements and different sizes and penny stocks and all that. But I don't know why we would need a third or a fourth one, and one for a specific race of people in the United States. I don't. It's not that I don't support it. I just don't understand why that's the case. Um, yeah, yeah.
about its identity and its relationship with humans and how it sees itself as an agent for change. And it's kind of interesting that are moving into space and how we are all interacting with it. But his conclusion is basically like it's not dangerous. Like ChatGPT safe, one-sided relationships? Are we as humans basically creating an environment where we just want yes men around us? Because if you ask ChatGPT, you're such a good writer, your prose is so good and so interesting. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I just asked you to tell me something that's wrong with it. So his whole relationship with this bot,
Whether you like it or not. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of layers of abstraction that happen from the top of a human like intake of commentary. It depends on who you're talking. Yeah, for sure. I mean, whether you like it or not, people are going to be using ChatGPT for therapy all the time, just to have a conversation on demand with somebody that is ostensibly objective, that is 24/7, that doesn't have a face or a history attached to it, wherein you can get certain biases or you don't give it the benefit of the doubt because it did something to you in the past in the real world. Um, I mean, I think everybody's using it all the time secretly to explore ideas or understand why people are doing certain things in their life. Like, hey, this person said this to me in this tone, in this context. What do you think? And it just gives you, I personally, I'm a fan of it. I enjoy it. I don't do it as often as some other people in my life where it comes to like, maybe I'm just not as thoughtful as they are, but if I'm having a problem with something's happening in my life and you ask ChatGPT, it is nice just to get other perspectives, right? If you have a media diet and you know how to digest, unfortunately, not everybody in America, due to the defunding of our educational system over the past 50 years, doesn't have a ton of critical thinking. Yeah, that's fair. So, not awesome for those of us that lack distinct critical thinking skills, but it is great if you just want another opinion that maybe you just hadn't stumbled across in your own exploration of what the hell is going on in your life that week. What are your thoughts?
something over, and you're like,
Mhm.
wow, that conversation didn't go the way I wanted. Okay? And maybe your best friend is sick of your bullshit. So, like, yeah, it's nice to have this other conversation partner to work things out. Even just, I mean,
Yeah.
talk about anything. And honestly, I don't remember what we talked about. It just feels like it feels good to chat with someone. And I think for our generation, ChatGPT does like scratch that itch of like AIM back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, there is an angle where there is something that is so intimate to you that you don't want to tell somebody in your life that knows you. You would almost rather talk to a stranger about it because you'll never see them again,
It's therapy,
right?
right?
So, yeah,
That's
yeah. I
that's the
mean,
idea of
but
therapy.
even with therapists, you're gonna see them again, and therapists are human, and you
Yep.
know that when they turn off the Zoom camera or you walk out of the door, there that sits with a human being that you're going to
Right.
see again.
And I
So
think
with
it's a judgment, right? Like, therapists are
right,
trained to not judge you and to be a resource for you, but a algorithm trained chatbot is not going to judge you. They're going to say,
yeah.
that was a really good idea. I totally agree with your perspective in that fight. Your spouse is wrong. Congratulations. It's like sometimes you
Well, yeah. It is a bit sycophantic, and it does support you for sure.
Yep.
Your spouse is wrong. Let me see your chats. What's going on over there?
No,
Let me.
you saying that you use it to analyze human conversations is I have not used it in that capacity, and I am
No.
not. No, I have not.
Oh,
Not at
interesting.
all. No,
Okay.
I use it as a very like to me it's a very I don't feel comfortable disclosing talking about emotions with ChatGPT. It's very specifically work and efficiency and planning and respond. I mean, I'll use it to like check my tone on an email that I guess that has
Mhm.
emotion, but I don't ask it questions about.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that use it for very intimate emotional conversations to get another perspective, and I'm impressed by the output of it,
Hmm,
frankly. Like,
okay.
it is sycophantic, like you're saying,
Yeah.
but it's not just like that person is wrong. They do sometimes it'll say like they might be wrong, or like there's like caveats or what have you.
Hmm,
But yeah, I'm
okay.
not
Your
saying
spouse is
trust it
wrong.
with your
Speaking
spouse is wrong.
speaking of sycophants, we've got this Wall
Yeah.
Street Journal article. The title is "Sharpie found a way to make pens more cheaply by manufacturing them in the U.S." This is a piece of propaganda about how Newell Brands was able to move production to the U.S. A homegrown, it's the tariffs are working. We're bringing manufacturing jobs back to the heartland in Tennessee without cutting employee count or raising prices. The TLDR here, folks, is they made a $2 billion investment and didn't pay taxes in the good state of Tennessee to basically and spent, I think, a decade rebuilding this factory to manufacture permanent markers, which is great. I would love for manufacturing to return, but it's going to take a lot more than little baby success stories. So I thought this was misleading at best and harmful at worst. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of critical thinking skills in your media diet, this is very clearly, we have the same outcome in that this is obviously a piece of propaganda that was paid for
Yep.
by the Newell Corporation to discuss how Sharpies are now made in America.
Yeah.
So when you read this article and you Google something and you're like, or you get to write on the packaging "Made in America," and you're looking at two different options on a shelf, and one of them says "Made in America" and the other one doesn't. Yeah, this was paid for by the Newell Corporation's PR team in order to get this.
Yeah,
Like,
it's funny
I
because
read through this. It's like, what?
what? Yeah, I
What are we
read.
doing?
So there's one like sort of critical quote in it by this guy Falorni, who I think is some kind of economist, like supposed to be like your objective third party. And his quote, which is supposed to be critical, is, "I really don't think there's anyone that can be as competitive as them," which is like a compliment, basically saying like they're so innovative that they figured this out. So, I think this is a bunch of bally bollocks. Anyway,
Yeah.
all
What
right,
are we
let's
doing
move
here?
on.
Just-
That's the state of the economy. We've got Scientology, ChatGPT, and Sharpies. Let's move on to some listener questions. I've got one here. I'm around 15 million net worth at age 32. Congratulations. No mentors, and most friends and family are not as wealthy. Who should I talk to, and who should I take advice from? Any groups to join that are more everyday conversations versus posts? Your thoughts here. What should this person do? Oh, they go on to say, examples of things I'm thinking about. Thinking about getting a financial advisor, buying a vacation home, investing in different opportunities, hiring things to make life more enjoyable, a chef, a personal trainer, a stylist, assistant. I realize it's not as appropriate to talk to my friends or family about this stuff. So who do you turn to and take advice from? Obviously, ChatGPT is great, as per our conversation, and this Reddit group is super helpful, but I'm looking for more ongoing conversations and real life advice versus posts and responses. I love this question. Yeah, it's like I've had success. I like my friends and family, but I'm worried it's going to change my relationship with them if I tell them that I have way more money than them. What was your take here? What advice do you have for our wealthy, lonely friend?
I mean, there's never enough information in these posts to really talk to people about it. I do like this person's response, a couple responses down, about the best piece of advice you could tell is to tell nobody about it. I think that, Scott Galloway talks a lot about how the best place to be in life is to be rich and anonymous. And I think I'd have to agree with what socioeconomically or sociologically speaking, what we see is that rich people, no one has any sympathy for rich people, no matter what's going on in their lives. They've got, money just seems like something that needs to be spread out, no matter what you did to get it. And it's not going to win you any fans. This person says just find a good trusted CPA and don't post anything on socials. I mean, there's some people in your life that you're going to have to talk to about it. It's just you can't pretend to be poor for the rest of your life, especially with your closest and most intimate friends.
It's a tough one, right? Because if you don't tell people, what if, like to your point, I mean, I mostly agree with that, except like, what if you don't tell your brother who's, really struggling, and you just decide that you're not going to tell them, and then they find out at some point that you've had this money this whole time? Like, that will also ruin your relationship because they maybe expect that you should help them. So I do think there's lots of layers to this. And yeah, with no one to talk to, like, how are you going to make the right decision?
Yeah.
I mean, to me,
Yeah.
the first person you call, yeah, you need a team of people here. Definitely need a CPA, right?
Mhm.
Definitely need a CPA to figure that out. Definitely, I mean, we're biased here, but I would say financial advisor. This is what you and I and our entire team does all day, every day. We are the person they can talk to about this. We have signed a confidentiality agreement. We're not going to tell anyone, and we're going to give them, unbiased advice that's in their best interest. So I do think a financial advisor in a lot of ways. I mean, I remember Shane early on, one of our earliest clients said, like, I'm so grateful for the two of you because I can't talk to anyone in my life about this. And we have this really interesting connection because I feel like you can give me advice about, like, yeah, where should I shop for a couch? Like, I can't ask my friends that question because then I'll reveal how much money I have. So your team should be, CPA, financial advisor. I think some therapy is really helpful, especially as what you're going through life changes. So certainly a good therapist. You can afford it, right? You can afford a really great therapist. You can afford to shop around. You don't have to go through insurance. So those are my 3 first calls.
Invited my friend to the Soho House on a Friday afternoon to get a drink, and it was almost like I called his mother a whore one time. Like, he was so mad at me for inviting
What do you
him.
mean?
He was like, he was so upset that I had Friday afternoons off and I could invite him to the Soho
Oh,
House. And he
as
took it
in
as an
he had
insult
identified a wealth disparity between the two of you.
and a time disparity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a
How did that
little
make you?
personal
How did that make
anecdote.
you feel?
Uh, I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing. It made me sad that that was not available, to them, and that made him upset. And now I have to put myself, the empathy that I need to express at all time is just continuing to, I didn't love it. I'll put it there. Inviting somebody to enjoy your success with you and then being insulted by it. Not a fun feeling, but that is something that this person can expect to experience as they make invitations to people,
Yeah, for sure.
post
I mean,
wealth disparity.
yeah, I mean, you also, like, you are excited about it, and it's hard to expect one reaction and then get another one, right? Whether it's your significant, I mean, this is really difficult in relationships that, that are not super long term, right? A lot of times, if you're in your early 30s, maybe you're dating someone somewhat casually, maybe even with them for 1 or 2 years, maybe you're not sure that this is the person forever. All of a sudden you end up with a couple $1,000,000 in the bank. How does that change your relationship? I think this is a really interesting question specifically for our client base.
You wonder why it's hard to keep friends the older you get. People diverge into different directions in your 30s. People start to shut people down. Even their oldest friends for a minor infraction, the people that you love the most can hurt you the most as well. Before you know it, you're in your 40s and 50s with 2 or 3 friends because you've cut everybody off because everyone's gone in different directions or has different growth trajectories or what have you, maturity trajectories, family trajectories. And there's that great tweet that says the biggest miracle Jesus ever had was having 12 friends in his 30s.
Yeah.
Jesus' most insane miracle was
Classic.
having
Classic.
12 close friends in his 30s.
Or wasn't it? Isn't there a version of that? It's like, yeah. Like, walk on water, sure. Like, the most unbelievable thing about the New Testament is that Jesus had 12 friends in his 30s. Like, sure, I'll believe all
And
the
one of them
miracles.
yeah.
And
I
only
love that
one of
one.
them was a dick. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap up this episode. I like this episode. I feel like we got a little deeper in this episode.
Mhm.
I'm gonna wrap it up with a classic, good old fashioned Shane and AJ hating on the whole life insurance industry. Here's a question from a reader. I canceled a $2 million whole life insurance policy today after 6 years. TLDR, don't be a fool like me. If a quote unquote financial advisor sells life insurance, run. When I started my financial journey, I hired a friend of a relative, yada, yada, yada. Basically, they were spending $2,000 a month to maintain this policy. Fast forward 5 years, they made an egregious error in managing my brokerage account, and I owed $30,000 in taxes. I fired them. No legal recourse. I've tried. Blah, blah, blah. They're now cashing out. They got $115K out of the policy because they paid into it. Anyways, basically warning everyone to not buy whole life insurance. Happy investing. Don't buy whole life insurance if you don't need it. And you probably don't need it unless you are already worth hundreds of millions of dollars. There's probably not room for it in your financial plan.
Which case you can self-insure anyway. I mean, I think
Exactly.
I think this is a classic example of conflating complexity with competency. complexity with value or price with value. This is an expensive thing. It's very complicated. There's tax advantages. There's cash within the policy. Gives you all these features and benefits. I can take money out of it at some point. Unfortunately, a term life insurance policy is just so much less expensive. You invest the difference and you're going to come out ahead in a net worth perspective. 99.99 times out of 100.
Here's what I think about the whole life insurance industry is that like this used to be financial planning. Like before we had ETFs, before it was easy for a regular investor to invest in the stock market, before 401ks were widespread and basically expected from employers, there were not a lot of products or opportunities for a regular investor who was just starting out their career. Typically, there was one breadwinner, typically a man for the family, and they needed to do something with their money and they wanted to protect their family. So like these products, when they first came about, made a lot of sense. Like this was a good idea. But now in 2025, we have 15 other vehicles to invest your money that are so much better, don't have the complexity, don't have the fees, have more flexibility, that to continue to do this in 2025, I think is just dumb. And unfortunately, if you go into finance and you graduate as a 22-year-old out of college, there are lots of insurance companies that will hire you as a quote unquote, as this guy says, financial advisor. And the first thing they will ask you is, who are the 50, give us a list of 50 people you know, and go out and sell them life insurance policies. So folks, please be aware of that. If you have a young relative, usually they're young, sometimes they're not young, saying like, hey, hope you're taking care of your family. Can we have a conversation about that? They're probably trying to sell you a whole life insurance policy. And as this Redditor says, the best thing you can do is run for the hills and get a term policy in place and a fiduciary financial advisor. That's all the soapboxing I have for today. What about you, Shane?
You just reminded me of that Iron Maiden song, Run for the Hills, which I hope we can play on the outro for today's episode.
Only like 6 seconds of it so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, folks, thanks for listening. Yeah. You can email us your financial problems at liquidityevent@brooklynfi.com. And finally, Stans can leave us a review if they want to be weird about it. Shane will see you next week. I will not. But have a fantastic time in life. See you soon.